I can't find. First problem, we see that it asks us to find the answer which is equivalent to the expression below. So we're just gonna multiply it out. Negative 35. This is a little too big. It's better. Negative. Oh. Negative 35 plus 7b. And then since we have a minus, it's minus 4b plus 3a. And then we can simplify this. Sunshine. Minus 17b. And we have the answer E. Number 2. Number 2 says for Bill's birthday party, his parents will pay $35 for the cake, plus $15 per person for catering expenses, and they will spend at most a total of $300 for his party. And the greatest integer in the solution set of one of the following inequality gives us the maximum number of people who could invite or attend to the party. So which one? So we're given that we have $300 total. And then the parents will pay $35 for the cake. And we have P amount of person. So for each person, we have $15. So we can write that as 15p. And then plus a 35, because we have the $35 should be less than or equal to 300. And by writing out the expression, we can see K is our final answer. So we have number 3. It says the number 312.8 is 30. So 0.43 of x. And what is the value of x rounded to the nearest whole number? So by this, we could use logic to figure this out, or by calculating it with a calculator. To find x, we divide both sides by 0.34, and because 0.34 is a decimal, or in other ways we could write that as a fraction, because it's less than 1, so the value of 312.8 should increase, which then should give us approximately 3 times of the value we're given. So to the nearest whole number should be 920, which is D. Number 4, for RT shown below, point S on RT is the length of RS is 8 centimeters given. The length of ST is 18 centimeters. What is the distance between T and the midpoint of RS? So the midpoint of RS says that the length, let's label this as point N. So what midpoint says is that RN and SN must be equal to each other. Therefore, we can write that as 8 divided by 2, which equals 4. So on this total distance, which should be 8 plus 18, we have 26 centimeters. And then from point N, we have 4 and 18. We want to know what is the distance between T and the midpoint of RS. Therefore, we can either subtract 4 from here, or just do 4 plus 18. Either way, we should get 22 centimeters, which is J. Five says certain committee is composed of 9 juniors and 11 seniors. 2 different members of the committee will be randomly selected for 2 different leadership roles. Given that the first member who will be selected is a senior, what is the probability the second member who will be selected is a junior? So we have a committee of 9 junior and 11 seniors. Given that the first role is a senior, so we now have 19 people to think about with 9 juniors and 10 seniors. So we have 19 people total, and we have 9 juniors. Therefore, our probability is going to be 9 out of 19. And we cannot further simplify that because 19 is a prime number. Therefore, we should have A. 6. What is the least common multiple of 60, 70, and 90? So the least common multiple says that each time 60, 70, and 90 should increase, and they increase by an integer value of the same as they are. So 60 increases to 120, and 140, and 180. So we want to find a number such that all 3 numbers have the same value. So for example, we have 1, 2, and 3. The least common multiple will be 3. No, it won't. I lied. The least common multiple will be 6, since that 3 goes to 6, 4, 6, and 1 can go up to 2, 3, 4, and then 6. That is what least common multiple is. So we want to find this by 60, 70, and 90. We can make this easier by erasing the 0 because it's useless. And we can think of 6, 7, and 9. If we think about the multiples of 6, it starts with 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. We know that 7 has 14, 21, and 28. Next up, we have 35, 42. We know that 6 times 7 equals 42. But 9 does not have anything to do with it because 42 is not divisible by 9. So then we think about 126 because this is given in our answer choices, and we know that F will not be the answer because we start off with 70 and 90, and that because 70 and 90 could not go down to 60, we know that choice will be automatically marked wrong. And we know that 22 is not divisible by 60, 70, or 90, or 6, 7, or 9. Therefore, we can mark that off as well. And we know that 63 is not divisible by 6, so we can write that as not divisible by 6. Therefore, we know it must be one out of those two. So consider 126. This is divisible by 6. Is it divisible by 7? Let's try it. 56. So 18. It is divisible by 7. Is it divisible by 9? It is indeed divisible by 9. And we do not need to consider the last answer because it asks for the least common multiple. And if k is divisible by all three numbers, but it's greater than j, so therefore we know the answer must be j. Seven. The Newton High School girls softball team currently has a record of 8 wins, 5 losses, and 0 ties. What is the least number of its remaining 10 games the team must win to finish the season with a winning rate that's more than 50% of the team's games? So currently we have 8 wins and 5 lose. So we have a total of games of 5 plus 8, which is 13. So remaining 10 more games, so we have a total game of 23. And so we want to have more than 50%. Therefore, we consider 22 over 2, which means that we need at least 12 wins. We need at least 12 wins for this game. So we see that we already have 8 wins. Therefore, we need 4 more wins. 4 more wins. Number 8 was the value of x. For what value of x is 2 times parentheses of x minus 12 plus x equals 24 true? So let's consider x. We need to solve for it. So let's simplify. Minus 24 plus x equals 24. And by the sum addition, we could combine x. So we can write this as 3x minus 24 equals 24. 3x equals 48. solving for x results us that 48 over 3, which is a 16. Therefore, we have J. Let's erase some of this. Number 9. The principal of the high school authorized to study to estimate the percent of the students' population that will attend a 4-year college after graduation. Students in honors courses were asked about their post-graduation plans and their responses were recorded. Students in other courses were not included in the study. Which of the following phrase best describes the principal's study? Oh. So, we have multiple courses in the high school, and because the principal only asked a part of it, so we can have a diagram of honors, not honors, or others. And because he only, this is not honors, should not be completed. This is a great question. Now I do not currently have the answer for what is known in a sample survey. Okay, so he took a sample, which the part where he took the students in honors courses are called. This is a sample in statistics. And it is a survey, not an experiment, because he asked for responses. So this should be a non-randomized sample survey. Let's quickly check the answers to that. Making sure that I'm not wrong. This is December 2020, DO3. And the answer to number 9 is E. It is E. Let's check our answers till now. Number 1 E, number 2 K, number 3 D, number 4 J, number 5 A, number 6 J, number 7 B, number 8 J, and number 9 E. So until now, we're all correct. I do have this. Yes. Number 10. We're given triangles ABC and A prime, B prime, C prime. They're graphed in the standard XY, which is the Cartesian coordinate plane below. Triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is the image of triangle ABC under one of the following transformation. So by looking at this, let's find ABC first. So we see ABC right here. It looks like this. And we can say that CBA looks like that. So it is a reflection, because as we can see that if we draw this the other way, it will look just like the other one. So because this is a reflection of the line right here, because it creates symmetry between B prime, C prime, and C, and then A and A prime. This is a symmetry above the y-axis, so this is reflection of the y-axis. Okay, correct. 11. Banu will build a fence around a rectangular, so let's draw out the structure. It's a rectangle. of a 30 foot by 25 foot play area, giving that the fence costs $4.5 per foot. How much will the fence cost for Anu to completely build around the play area? So we're looking for a fence that covered not the area. We covered the area, but ultimately what we're finding is the not the circumference, but what's the word for it? We're finding the sides combined. So because this is a triangle, a rectangle, we could use 30 times 2 plus 25 times 2 gives us a 60 plus 50, which is 110 foot total surrounding the playground. And we're given that we have $4.05 per foot, and we're gonna multiply this by 110 foot, which should be able to give us 40.5 plus, so we multiplied the 110 because we can split this up as 100 plus 10, and we'll have 40.5 plus a 405, which should give us 445.5 A. Number 12, the diagonal of a rectangle flat television screen is 26 inches. The width is 22.7 and the height is 10. Which of the following is closest to the area in square inches of the television on screen? Oh, I cannot see chat currently. Perimeter? Yes, perimeter. Oh shoot. This doesn't show. How do I just... Oh, okay. Okay, I do see it. Hello, Baba. Yes, it is perimeter. It is indeed A, and it is 445.5. Number 12, diagonal of a rectangular. Do you think I'm going too slow or am I going too fast? Because I'm kind of slowing down the pace and explaining every step, but I fear that it's a little slow considering you only have 1 hour to take the test. So we're going to continue to number 12, flat television given diagonal. Diagonal is the line that cuts between two opposite corners, and it's 26. The width is 22.7. The height is 10. The height is 10 less than the width. So the height is not 10, it is actually 12.7. So we want to find the area. The diagonal has absolutely nothing to do with this, so what we could do is we could just 22.2 times 12.7. This should give us, let's calculate it. $288. Yes. It is H. It's good for people watching so they can work out the problems with you. Okay. It is indeed H. 13 for all a does not equal to 0. A to the 8th over a to the 4th is equivalent to what? So by theorem, we can say that a to n over a to m is equal to a to the n minus n, because we can see this as a to the n multiplied by a to the negative m, which by sum of exponents, we can say that this is a to the n minus n, which is the same as that. So this will just simply be a to the 8 minus 4, which is C. Thanks. 14. Violet, do you think we should stay at 14, or should we go challenge some of the harder problems? Because I fear the first 30 is not that bad, and the ones that's getting, once it gets into the 50s, it should have some higher level mathematics that shows up from time to time, like matrices and number theory. But I don't quite see number theory showing up here. You should do harder problems. Okay. We're just gonna skip. Hey, do you see any problems that you want me to work out? I'm pretty sure you're the only person right here, so I'm gonna scroll and you can type a number and I'll do it if I know how to. I don't quite see any problems that look challenging yet. Triangle ABC. What is the length of AC? 31 sounds like a problem that wouldn't usually appear. So we're gonna do 31 because someone said that 31 is Yes, 31 does not look like a problem that would typically show up. It does have sequences and series, which you might see in higher degree mathematics, like number theory or calculus. So, a geometric sequence, for example, if we have a triangle, and then we draw another triangle inside, and then we draw another triangle inside, another one, and then infinitely keep going. Ultimately, this is a geometric series. So if we fill the bottom of every triangle like this, it would ultimately approach a number. So by this, we can have the theorem that geometric sequence can be written as sum, or the sum of a geometric sequence as n equals 1 approaching infinity of a number times r to the nth power, when r is the common ratio. So we're given the first term of a geometric sequence is 21. So we can write that as 27. So we can see the first number is in the series is going to be 27 times the common ratio to the nth power. And because this is the first term for our convenience, we're given all answers in terms of 27 times a number to the n or n minus 1 power. And because we're starting at n equals 1, we can write this as n minus 1, because we know that when n is 1, 1 minus 1 gives us 0, and any number to the power 0 is going to be 1 most, because we have undefined. I believe when 0 has the power of 0, it is undefined, but that's a later problem. This has nothing to do with this. But now we just need to find what r is. So we can already eliminate answers from E because it is not the geometric sequence. We can eliminate D, B, and then we're left with A and C. Now we need to find what r is. So we're given the fourth term is 64. We can write this as 27 to r of n minus 1 equals 64. And because we know that n is 4, we're given r times r to the third power equals 64 over 27. And if we look very carefully, we realize that 64 is 4 to the third power, while 27 is 3 to the third power, which then we can simplify this to 4 over 3, all to the third power, which then we have the answer C. When 27 is A, 4 over 3 is R to the n minus 1 power, which give us the geometric sequence that obtains the first term being 27 and fourth term being 64. Okay, here is the solution of this problem. Let's move on. I will be back in a few minutes. I am back. Okay, we're gonna keep going down the list. Halfway between. Interesting. We're now entering the 40s. This should be a little bit more challenging than the ones from previous problems, because the ACT formats where the question gets harder and harder. So we should see some harder problems over here. Uh, 38 through 40. Let's see. So we're given some information. Population, it's about 320 million. The wingspan of all American robins can be fit into a normal distribution model that has a mean of 36 centimeters and a standard deviation of, oh my god, standard deviation. Maximum report flight is 3,168 feet per minute. And okay, so to the 38. Suppose the population of American robins increased each year from 2005 to 2015. The conservation organization will consider American robins threatened, provided that their population in 2025 is no greater than what number? So we can use number 4 to answer this problem. So the organization will only consider them threatened if the total number declines by at least 30% over a 10-year period. So we also need number 1. We have the population is 320 million. So let's write that out. 320 million should be 100,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, 10 million, and 32. So they're considered threatened if this thing goes down by at least 30%. So we want to know the 70% of this. So we can multiply this by 0.7. And we could think about all the zeros later. So we could consider 32 multiplied by 0.7 equals, say, 22.4. Then we can consider the zeros again. We can write this as 10 to the 7th power. We can write this whole thing as 32 multiplied by 10 to the 7th power. Right. Yes. So we can multiply by this again. 22, 4. And then total of 5 zeros. Compare this. We have h as the answer. So we need no greater than this amount of number for the American robins to be considered threatened. And do be careful with the zeros because K give us 224 to begin with, but it does have an extra 0. So it does decrease from the original number we're given, but it does not decrease by 30%. So therefore, we must be careful with the numbers. The population of American robins in 2015 is equal to, well, we just calculated the value of K because we written this in what is called the scientific notations for numbers with the really, really large decimals or really, really long zeros. So, but this is different because we calculated 10 to the 7 times 32. But over here, it has 3.2 times 10 to the k. So this should be 10 to the 8th, which we found earlier. We found 7, but we can add 1 because the decimal decreased again. So we can write this as 3.2 times 10 to the 8th power. 40. A certain robin flew for 15 seconds at the maximum reported flight speed cited by the website. Which of the following values is the closest to the number of meter? So we need the maximum reported flight speed, which we can use number 3 to find. So we're given that it's 3,168 foot per second. And we want to know which of the following value is closest to the number of meter the robin flew. So this is a dimensional analysis problem. So we want to convert foot to meters. And we also have 15 seconds. So we want to multiply this by 15 first. And then we have to convert this to meter. And it's given that 1 meter equals 3.3 foot. So ultimately what we do is we plug this in the calculator to solve for it. And I'm going to do that real quick because I do not want to calculate this in my brain. That would be a waste of your time during the ACT. Scheiße. This is not correct. Which of the following values is closest to the number? Per minute. We missed the information. So this is not per second. Yes, we do have to be careful. So we can write that as 60 seconds, and we divide the final answer by 60, which should be 240 meters. G. Guys, if we get answered that's really crazy, be sure to check for the information given because there's a great chance you mess up. Okay guys, let's not consider the fact that I just said something in German. We do not need to know that. Let's just do 41 because I felt like that. X is a real number. So what is a real number? So a real number is all numbers from -infinity to infinity on the real number line that does not contain imaginary numbers. For example, square root of -1. That is not a real number. We do not consider this. So consider absolute value of x, which means x will be always positive, or the absolute value of x will always be positive. So consider x equals -9. The absolute value of x will be 9. Or we can write the absolute value as square root of x squared, because a number squared always give you a positive number, and then you square root it. So does not matter if x is negative or positive, it will always result you a positive number by definition of the absolute value. So we can see 1 is definitely not true. A is not true because negative x does not have to be less than x. So like we said earlier, consider x equals negative 9. Negative 9 will result you a 9, and it will not be less than negative 9. In fact, this is greater. So we can mark out A. And we can use B is also wrong because, again, consider x equals negative 9. We have 9 is less than 9. That is not a true statement. C, we have x equals absolute value of x. This is also not true because consider negative 9 again. Negative 9 does not equal 9. D is the only correct answer because we consider absolute value of negative x will equal to absolute value of x, right? If we consider any positive integer or any negative integer, so for example, negative n, absolute value of negative n will result you n, absolute value of positive n will result you n, so they should be equal. So D is the only answer. Yes. We're gonna erase all this, taking a lot of space. All right. We're just gonna scroll down, and please tell me what question you would like me to do. We're approaching in the 50s, so this should be a little more challenging than the previous one we've done because this should be the hardest section where most people miss. Also, most people could miss at the beginning because they're a little too confident with their answers, so make sure to not overlook them. We're gonna do 46. 2 car owners. So we're given following information for question 46 through 48. So I will do all 3 of them. So we're given a graph right here about car companies and ages in year of A, B, and C, 3 different companies. Each owner in the sample only owns 1 car. Okay. So we're given a sample of 335 car owners in a certain city. And we have the ages in the 3 brackets, 16 through 25, 26 through 45, and 46 through 60, who own cars from 3 companies, and each owner in the sample only owns 1 car. Quite confusing. 2 car owners from the sample will be chosen at random, given that no owners is chosen twice. Which of the following expression gives the probability that both owners will be chosen from the same age bracket? Interesting. So let's see. 2 car owners out of 335 will be chosen. Probability that they will be in the same age bracket. So we consider the amount of people in each age bracket. We have 80, 155, and 100. This problem is a little tricky. Consider if we chose one from the first age bracket, let's list that as A, B, and C, because this problem does not require anything to do with the car companies. So if we chose one from A, we will have 79 people left. And if we chose one from B, we will have 54. And if we chose one from C, we'll have 99 people left. Considering this, we should have F, which this expression does not really make sense because it has a lot of unexpected outcomes for this problem, because we consider if we chose one from each it should be F. Because we consider each cases. The first one, we have 80. So for A, case A, we have 80 and then 80 minus 1 of 79. And then we have this multiplied because we could break this to 80 over the total, which is 335. Multiply by 79 and 334 because we chosen one person already, so we subtract 1 from the total and 1 from the group. This is should be accounted for each one. So let's check the answer real quick to make sure I'm not tweaking. For 46, the answer is indeed F. The answer is F because we want to consider each group and the total. 47, for those in the sample who are 26 to 45 years old, which of the following value is the closest to average number of car owners per company? So we consider group B of the age group. We have a total of 155 owners. So 47. We'll consider group B of the age group. Which of the following value is closest to the average number of car owners per company? So let's consider this. We have 155 total per company, and we're just gonna average out the 3. So they already gave us the sum, so we could divide this. We will consider this divided by 3, which should result us in a 5 point. This should result us in a 50 something. 51.6 actually. 51.666 repeating. Just keeps repeating because this is infinite. 2 over 3 is not divisible. So we round this up to the closest average, which should be C52. we're now gonna consider 48. A circle graph will be drawn with the three sectors, each representing the proportion of owners from company A, B, and C who are in the A group of the age group. What is the measure of the central angle for company A sector? That is a very interesting question. So we have to calculate the percentage of each one. This is a pretty tricky question, and this should confuse a lot of people about what it's asking. So we want to know the central angle of the company A sector. So we have age group 16 through 25. We have 80 people in total. And A has 16, B has 24, and C have 40. So we could divide this circle into one with the 40 people, one with 16, and then one with 24 people. Right. And then so this represents the A part, this is B, and this is C. So we want to find this angle right here. Interesting question. So before solving this problem, we can see that 40 should be half of the 80 circle. So this will automatically be 180 for section C. And B has more than A by a proportion of 16 over 24, which both are divisible by 4, and this has a proportion of 24 over 16, which is, this should be simplified, 6 over 4, which is 3 over 2. So we can see the proportion of the size, and this should relate to the angle as well. So we can try solving this by saying that 180 is split up into 5 different sections because it is divided amongst B and A. So we can have 36. Yes, 36. And because A takes up 2% of this, so we can multiply this by 2, which is 72 degrees. Okay. This is a very tricky question, and there is multiple ways of solving this problem. Let's check the answer to make sure. Yes, it is. Okay. There is multiple ways of solving this problem. This is one of them. I'm not sure if you could solve this by area. If you consider 80 as the area, solve for radius, and then consider the angle to do with that. But this is the way I solved it. And you do not have to list out all the steps on the test. You could try to do it as fast as you can. But yeah, this is one way of doing it. We're just gonna go ahead and solve 49 and 50 because it's right there. Vertices of triangle P, Q, and R are given in standard XY Cartesian coordinate plane below. What is the area in square units? We can solve this question by the use of linear algebra, which high schools regularly don't quite teach. But we could also do this another way, which does not require linear algebra because it is very easy, but we would have to know a lot more, like dot product, cross products, and matrix C multiplication, and also considering things like norm and vectors. Yeah, so we will not be doing that. Instead, we're going to use a different method to solve this problem. So we're given the height, and we're given this is not a regular triangle, so we cannot just use simple formulas. Instead, we must find the length. So we can find the length PQ by equation of 10 minus 4. We're given that this equals 6. And the P and R, because this is not lying on the same x coordinate, so we will not be able to just subtract the y units. Same with R and Q. So instead, we'll use a distance formula, which states that d equals y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. The square root of this entire thing. So ultimately, what this distance formula is derived from is that we could see this line. So for example, P and R. We could see this as P, 5, 10. This as R, 3 and 6. And we could draw a right triangle. And then by this is y2 minus y1. This is x2 minus x1. Finding this, the distance, we could use Pythagorean theorem, which states that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, which derives d for us. And if we square root this and substitute a and b, we have d. So this is where the distance formula is derived from. So you do not need to harshly memorize this, because if you do forget, you will you can derive it yourself. So we're gonna plug in the points for solving for PR. We will have distance. Oh, this is a little big. D equals square root of y2 minus y1. So 10 minus 6, 4 squared, plus x2 minus x1. And do be careful that the x1 here, -3 is negative. So 5 minus a -3 will actually result us in 8, which is 5 plus 3, 8 squared. So the distance should be a square root of 16 plus 64, which is square root of 80. Now 80 is not a perfect square, so we're just gonna leave it as that for now. You can simplify that if you want, because we do have 4 here, 4 and 20, which gives us 16. We can simplify this as 4 times square root of 5 if you would like to, but there is no need in doing this, because we do need the 80 for later, the square root of 80 for later. And now we need to solve for Q and R, line QR, which we can also use distance formula to solve for. We have 4 minus 6, so -2 squared will be a 4, plus a 5 plus 3 again, so 64. This will equal to 68, square root of 68. Now we obtain all 3 sides of the triangle. We could use a formula called the Heron's formula. It states that the sum of the 3 sides, so divided by 2, S equals side A plus B plus C over 2. And then the area of the triangle will be equal to square root of S times S minus A, S minus B, and S minus C. This is the formula called the Heron's formula. Now we can solve for s. We have 6 plus square root of 80 plus square root 68 over 2. And then we can try to simplify this because this is a little disgusting to plug in the calculator, and make sure you do not get any calculator mistakes. And by rounding, we can round this to 11.6. 11.6. And then now we can solve for the triangle. We will plug it into the calculator. Sum of 11.6. 11.6 minus 6 times 11.6 minus square root of 80 times 11.6 minus square root of 68. Right, now let's calculate for this. Interesting. We obtained that this is 24.05, which by rounding we should get 24. But this is a little scary because we have 25 and we did round what s is. So we could go back and look at s and round it to a closer decimal. 11.5952. And by using this value, we should obtain the answer more accurately. This is 49, and it is A indeed. We did round up, and it's still 24, so if you didn't want to check, you could also use logical reasonings to obtain that 24 should be the answer of this problem. 50. The table below gives value of the function f and g at different values of x, and find f of g of 1. So this is not very hard, because we're not even given the function. We are given the values right here by a table. So we want to find f of g of 1. So let's evaluate g of 1 first. And we're given that when g is 1, g of x or g of 1 is 2. And now we plug 2 back in and substitute 2 as g of 1, which we get f of 2. And by the chart, we get f of 2 will be a negative 6, f. Let's try 53. 53 is not hard. It's just a pure problem based on your understanding of logs and natural logs. So this should be taught in pre-cal, and also used a lot in calculus and other mathematics. So natural log ultimately is logarithm sub e. So we're given that log of x sub x of x equals 1. Ultimately, what logarithms do is it backpropagates the power or the exponent a number needs to be for the other. So for example, if we have log 4 of 64, this will be a 3 because we can see 64 as 4 to the third, which is log 4 of the third power, which by the rules and properties of logarithm, we can write this as 3 times logarithm of 4, which equals to a 3 times 1, sorry, which is still 3. So by this property, we can now look at natural logs. And natural log of e will equal 1. Natural log of 0 will equal 1. No, it won't. Natural log of 0 does not exist. Natural log of 1 equals 0. Because anything, log of a number of 1 equals 0. Because 1 or any number to the power should be equal to 0, we have we have a to the 0th power gives us 1, and therefore logarithm base e of 1 should be equal to 0. Yes, this is another property of logarithms. It can be derived, but you can also memorize it once you use it enough. So now let's solve the problem. Natural log of x equals 2. What is x? We can rewrite this as logarithm of e of x equals 2. And then because we know that the answer is 2, we can write that logarithm of a number, which is x to the second power e equals, should not equal, sorry guys. By this value, we can see that x should equal to e squared. Because if we substitute e for x, we should have logarithm of logarithm sub e of e, which results in 1. And again, by properties of logarithm, we can tell that e should be squared to obtain the answer of 2. So the answer is e. $54 seems like a fun problem. $55. Okay, so is there any other problems that we see that feel challenging? Like 54, 52. These should be the harder problems. Oh, standard extra coordinate and the endpoints of the major and minor axis. What is the following equation? last problem, 60. Oh, equal to -3, which of the following binomial is a factor of? Let's do 59 real quick. Just explain the simple theorem behind this. Ellipse is what looks like a circle but not a circle. And the equation, this is simply testing the knowledge of equation on this. So for ellipse, the equation will be x over a squared plus y over b squared equals 1. This is the typical equation for ellipse, which is derived from an ellipsoid, which in multivariable calculus we will see is x over a squared plus y over b squared plus z over c squared equals 1. This is the equation of an ellipsoid. But since we're looking at the standard Cartesian coordinate of x and y, we will have not consider z and over c squared. So we're given the dots or the endpoints of the major and minor axis of the ellipse, and we have 7 and -7, -4 and 4. So we consider x. We should have x equal over 4 squared plus y, which on the y-axis gives us 7 squared equals 1, which implies that this is x over 16 plus y over 49 equals 1, which is C. Do not use D and E because all these are equations of a circle. Equation of a circle is given by x minus a squared plus y minus b squared equals 1, and a, b are the center. So do not confuse the ellipse formula with the circle formula, because this is very different. And one question could matter from a 35 to a 36. So let's not confuse ourselves. Let's try 56. This looks like a geometry problem. So in triangle ABC, show given are the given side length are in meters, which the following expression gives us the area in square meters of A, B, and C. So one of the things that a lot of people may mess up here is that they consider that this angle to be a right triangle. This is not a right triangle because we are never told that B and C, ACB is a right triangle. We're never told that the angle C is 90 degrees. So do not assume that we could use the formula show to consider this the area of this triangle, because that is not how it works. You will get the question wrong. G here is solving for BC, considering if C is a right triangle, so this is not the answer. We do not need to derive the answer of this because this is kind of useless. There is a formula. It's a property of sine within the geometry or geometric problems. So for a triangle given A, B and C, angle C, and we're given angle zeta. So we will have area of the triangle equals a 1/2 sine of zeta multiplied by A and B. This is a very useful equation to solve for triangles, considering we know their areas or not. Or we could use another way to solve this problem. If we consider law of sines and we solve for angle B and then solve for angle C, or we do not even need to solve for angle C, we could use law of sines to solve for angle B, and by that solve for A over here and use Heron's theorem to solve this problem. But because we're only given the equation needed and we're not given answer choices of the actual answer, we can see that this property exists and it's true for J. Let's do 58. For what values of B does the equation x squared plus bx plus 1 equals 0 have no real solution? So ultimately what this says is that x plus a number squared equals 0 such that A must be larger than 1. Is that real? Let's see, x squared plus 1. X squared plus x plus 1. And I fear this is not true. Let's derive this question. So we know that for x, for b equals 0, this is true because this has no real solution. Less than 0. So we could tell that f is not true because for b equals 0, this thing has no real solution. For all b greater than 2 is not 0 because this gives us equation of x plus 1 squared, which has answer of x equals 1, negative 1. Between 0 and 4 should also not be true. So we're debating between G and K. Let's try x minus 1, x plus 1. Solving for this equation obtains us... I know what we can do. By the quadratic formula, we have negative v plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a gives us x. Checking for if the answer is real or not, we could consider square root of b squared minus 4ac. We're given a and c right here, and we need to find b. So this will be b squared minus 4. So for b to be a number such that this equals a negative number or square root of a negative number, we could have all b less than 1. That is not true. All b less than 2 is not true. Yes, it is. We should have b is between 2 and negative 2, such that b is bounded where it is smaller than 4. So we should obtain the answer should be k. Okay, guys. It's been about an hour, maybe longer. Oh, it's actually been an hour and a half. The stream is gonna end here today, and I will stream maybe tomorrow, and I will start making videos regarding the ACT sections of math and science, and also solving some AP Physics problems. More specific, AP Physics 1, and we will do some MCQs from College Board, or we could do FRQs from past exams, and we will see how that goes.